Well, welcome to Between Two KeepStars. I'm your host, Riker, along with my beautiful co-host.
Aaron, I was supposed to say my name here.
Yeah, you're supposed to say. Anyway, welcome to the show, guys. And we got a pretty interesting show for you today. As some of you may or may not know, a battle just recently occurred. It was a battle between... Aaron, do you actually know which... It was a battle for Asotio, that's what I know.
Yeah, it was over Sody. That was us versus Pandemic Horde. I think PL showed up and NC Dot. I think all three were there.
Yeah, it was Test.
No, it was BL. BL, Pandemic Horde, and NC Dot.
Yes, and before we start, Aaron, could you tell us a little bit about yourself?
About me? Is that what you were about to say?
Yes, about yourself. So, who you are, where you come from, maybe a little bit of background on your history, that kind of stuff.
Hi, I'm Aaron. I've been in test for, 3 months now or something like that. Came back to the game after a long break. Got into the FC program in test for, and have also been doing Fred stuff with test. So yeah, I'm a new trading FC, and I'm also a Freds member. My very oldest alliance was SMA. I was in that for about 2 years, and then when that collapsed, I quit the game for a while. And
so you were in SMA during World War B, correct?
Yes, I was. I was in SMA during World War B. That was a fun time.
So you basically you had to endure being camped in every system by every single.
By every alliance in all of the game, in multiple different places.
Yeah, it was kind of funny. I was watching a meta show, and apparently someone had complained to one of the goon higher ups, and had said, "Hey, listen, there's literally a guy camping in every single system. We cannot ret." And one of the goon higher ups was like, "Oh well." There can't be a guy in every single system. So he goes and checks.
There was
literally a guy in every single system.
And most of them were actually mostly active. It was actually a terrible time to be in Fade. If you were a PvEer, our PvE got kind of shut down for a while. Our combat guys got a lot of fun though. Until we lost ONY. And then everything kind of went down. We moved down to Outer Ring for a while, and then shut down a couple months after that. After our numbers basically went super any.
Yeah, no, damn.
By the way, there's Outer Ring, if people didn't know that.
Yeah, no, that was actually probably the best story I've ever heard from World War B, was they told me there was a guy in every single system. I didn't believe them, so I checked, and they were right. There was actually one of my FCs had put a spy into SMA and decided he was going to have some fun when people were in Tosacine. And so he basically fit a covert ops hauler with a burst jammer and would fly it to different sites when people were in Tosacine and burst jam his own fleet.
Yeah, that actually was a pretty good tactic. I think it's less good of a tactic nowadays.
Yeah, no, now it's oh, you're going to burst jam us? Well, we're all going to target you now.
Well, not only target that, but you could just get multiple people and put ECCM scripts, which I don't think were a thing back then, or at least people hadn't known that much about them. Now you could just fit ECCM scripts and you're good to go.
Right.
You just do multiple people too, so even if one person gets jammed, you're still counting down.
So you've actually... in test, you've actually made a name for yourself as, funny enough, but an Incursion FC. Could you tell me a little bit more about
Oh yeah,
that?
I do Incursions. I do mostly Incursions and Logi in test right now, as an FC. In the battle the other day, I was heading the Logi. I also do Incursions, and basically I take the night shift. So after the other guys are going to bed, I come in and I take it all the way through the downtime train. Incursions are actually pretty fun. They're really good for newer players, and out in Nullsec we get to do some really fun stuff in doing them, and it's a pretty good time, and everyone gets to chill, make lots The downside, though, is they can spawn on top of other people's stuff, like moons and infrastructure and that kind of stuff. And sometimes they just need to be cleared, and you can't control when they spawn and when they don't. So it's kind of like everyone gets up, goes and does goes and has fun, and then goes home when it's done.
Oh, yeah, and interesting enough, like normally incursions they spawn all over the galaxy and are supposed to be quote unquote random, but it's
we just had 2 in a row.
And before that, we had like 3 in a row.
Yeah, like it has been raining incursions and Sancho's. I think there might be a correlation. I'm not sure.
Sancha incursions Sancha incursions in Sancha space.
Yeah, it's like they're stealing their own people to make more of the people. I'm not sure this is good. Sancha, you need to get better.
Yeah, Sancha needs to figure the fuck out.
Anyway. Interestingly enough, I was told I saw a tweet and I didn't actually go read it all, but apparently Test was the first person, like first alliance, to deploy a Sino jammer, like a Sino, like onto the live server.
Oh.
I'm told that particular Sino beacon was put in the CR-TAC constellation, which is exactly where the incursion spawned, and immediately shut it. I think there might have been some CCP shenanigans there. Not sure. Because when an incursion spawns, it jams everything, which turns off all your Sino beacons. So the first one just gets immediately turned back off. No, go back to your corner. We're not ready for you yet.
Oh, all right, okay. Because at first I thought you said that the first Sino jammer, and then you were just like, oh no,
first Sino beacon. Sorry, I had to correct myself.
It'd be even funnier if another alliance was just like, oh, haha, we're gonna put ours up and actually be the first people.
Yeah, right. I need to go actually make sure that's true, but that's what I've heard so far.
Yeah, that'd be pretty memey. But yeah, now on to the battle. So I think it was yesterday actually, a battle was fought over Sotio, and that was interesting. I wasn't on the main fleet. I was actually in the bombing wing. Which,
you were in the Preds bomb?
Yeah. So one of the biggest things that I've seen, especially with tests, is they're a little bit nicer when you mess up. Nobody in the Preds fleet.
You're telling me you messed up, aren't you?
Yeah. So basically, here's the story, right? So we're going for a bombing, and I didn't hear the FC say, "Okay, decloak and bomb." I kind of just assumed that's what he was gonna say, and so I did it. Decloaked the entire fleet, maybe, and so we all got decloaked. We all got off, except me, funnily enough, because I had launched my bomb. It blew up, hit the Sotio, and the Sotio was like, I'm gonna scram you. And so I'm scrammed. I didn't think to burn down, and I just ate shit. Mm-hmm. However, I was able to gate my pod all the way back to OEGen.
Nice. So you're just taking the pod express.
Well, no, because if I would have taken the pod express, then I would have spawned back in.
Okay.
All the way across the galaxy, and I don't want to do another 52 jumps to do that.
But your activity tracker!
Alright, here's the thing. So I have something that I need to say about the activity tracker. It's nice for people that are just now making accounts, because it doesn't backlog all the stuff you've ever done. Now, okay, I get it. It's going to start tracking. But, I don't know, I guess I just don't really see a reason for it.
So I guess it is kind of really bad that it isn't backlog, but like they probably didn't have all the metrics for each individual account. I think they were just going like server metrics when they were taking them. Now they do it on each individual. But I think it's really nice being able to see like how much I've repped people, how much I do this, how much I do that. I'm a player who tries to do pretty much everything in the game, so like seeing what I have and haven't done. And also it's fun, I have multiple accounts, so like looking at different characters and what I use different characters for so far has been kind of interesting.
Yeah, whereas, so I like to think I have multiple characters, but let's be real, I only have one that I actually use being my main. I'm kind of stuck in that whole, well, I want my main... So, I don't want to wait to train a super alt to fly my super. So I'm just going to fly it on my main, which, best idea ever.
See, I made the best idea a long time ago and trained a separate capital alt so that I was able to train my main to do most subcap things, and then I have a alt that has a very similar name that also does all the caps. So like,
well, that's essentially what I'm doing. It's just I'm taking I'm taking a lot longer because how my current accounts are set up. It's that I've got my main, which is Riker. Then I've got my alt account, which is Techie, OMG, and OMG PI alt. OMG is my high sec alt, which, by the way, learn high sec mechanics because I did something stupid in high sec, and it's been following me. Like, that fuck up has lost me so far 3 ships.
What'd you fuck up in high sec?
So, I basically...
someone, didn't you?
I mass ECM to fleet.
Yeah, there you go. Bye-bye sec status.
And it tanked my sec status, which is how I lost in Orca.
Well, you know what's really good for getting your sec status back?
Are you grabbing? Well, no. So anyway, so I'm like, all right, so I'm gonna go do that, but I can only go in a 0.5 system. So I took a Cine assist and decided, all right, let's fly the Cine assist. Let's go and use this. Well, here's the thing. It then died because I saw that someone was looting stuff in the high sec site. And I was like, well, that's not cool. This dude just came into my site and is taking it all. So I'm gonna shoot his loot. Yeah, well, that didn't work. So that exploded. And so I was like, all right, I'm sick of this shit. I'm gonna get my high sec status back up to 0.71 so that I can have my high sec mission alt back. Because essentially the whole reason I have him is so that if, like, let's say Esoteria and the entire South, like, PL rises from the dead, right? And just incaps everything. I can at least still make money.
See, I don't foresee that happening anytime.
Well, keep in mind, this was before
we're pretty comfortable here now.
Yeah, it was before the whole thing happened, and when PL was knocking at our doorstep, I was like, well, at least I've got that alt. It also came in super handy when I was in Waffles and didn't have access to null sec space.
Yeah, null sec space is real nice.
Yeah, or
I will confirm. Please learn how to use your null sec space. It's amazing when you know what you're doing.
But no, so I've been training that because I want to get him into a Marauder so I can do level 4 missions super easily. Training a Marauder and all...
Marauders are the best. Don't let anyone crush your dreams. Marauders are the...
Well, no, and I've got a pretty decent Marauder fit that I was able to come up with on CC, and I enjoy it. It kicks ass.
Single rep?
It's a PvP fit. Yeah, single rep. It's a Paladin.
Cool. I'm working on getting that dual rep Chronos. I just need to put all the parts together, and then I can PvP dual rep Chronos.
Oh, yeah. The one thing, though, because since I'm probably going to be using it for level 4 missions, and I'm not a fan of armor tanking in missions, so I'll probably do a golem, to be honest. Cause
I'll let you and all of the other people watching, all like 4 of them, that golems are the best. Golems are the best. They are amazing, both for PvP and PvE. Like, they are just a really good Marauder train.
That, and they've got the cargo hold the size of fucking Russia.
Yeah, they got a giant cargo hold. Well, I mean, all Marauders really have a giant cargo hold. To be fair, the Paladins ends up being the largest, which is just because your laser crystals don't take that much space, whereas all the other ammos do. But the Golem gets like insane levels of tank, insane levels of application, insane levels of damage. You can do a lot with a Golem. And you can fit it a bunch of different ways. That target painter bonus, never underestimate it.
I was about to say, just throw a target painter on that thing. I didn't even know it had a bonus.
Yeah, it has a straight up bonus to target painting. And the instant shield reps will keep you up for a long time.
Oh yeah. That, and also I can just fill all the loads with damage and just be like, alright, I'm gonna annihilate everything.
Say also rapid heavies. Rapid heavies are an insane weapon system. You basically get cruiser application on your battleship. With all the other application that you're getting, that's just crazy.
However, I've noticed that they really don't do as much damage as, let's say, like Cruise. I feel like Cruise might be a little bit better in some circumstances.
Yeah, but one thing you got to remember about missiles, right, is that if you don't have the application, then you're not really going to do that much damage. Even though it looks like a lot of damage, if you can't apply it, missiles lose damage really. And cruise missiles, especially, have troubles with application. So unless you're fighting other battleships, your cruise missiles aren't going to be as good.
Well, that's kind of what level 4 missions really have. And plus, if you've got that target painting bonus,
yep, the target painting
you're going to be fine.
Wonders.
I only say this because on the first room I did on stream, I had a rapid heavy apocalypse, and I found an orca, and it took me forever to kill that orca.
Yeah, so like if you're just going for like DPS against similar things, then I recommend the Marauders all have range bonuses, so you can actually apply while sieged out to ridiculous ranges, even with torpedoes. They're just a higher damage weapon system.
Oh yeah.
And then rapid heavies are mostly for like PvP because you're going to be like fighting cruisers most of the time. Like they will catch you, so you have to be able to deal with them.
Mm-hmm. And here's the funny thing too, because the last stream I did before I actually lost that, I lost the Apocalypse. Or is it Armageddon? It's one of the two. I actually found myself fighting a Condi interceptor gang, which honestly, I actually enjoyed it because I was eating interceptors with the
the J.A. Mackinnon gang.
Oh yeah, no, like
because he keeps coming. He just keeps coming.
Well, no, because I fought them in catch because the idea was I'm gonna roam through Delve or just the very tip of Delve. I wasn't gonna go straight into Delve because I knew what was gonna happen. And I didn't want the stream to end that early. And so what I did, by the way, if you're gonna battleship PvP,
Delve is
hit hyperspatial.
Stream in hyperspatial.
Alright, here's the thing, right? So I was flying and I found a badger, and I was like, alright, I'm gonna warp and kill him. The minute I got on top of him and was about to lock him, he warped off. So if I would have had hyperspatials, I would have caught the guy. And anything that I fight, or that I'm going to take a fight against, I'm just going to fucking wreck them.
Yeah, well, the battleships is about positioning
unless I
yourself
fight another battleship, which I wasn't too
being
keen
able to
on
catch
finding
people
other
without
battleships.
your speed.
Yeah, and so it's really about warping in on them and hitting them, or them wanting to fight you, which is actually why I enjoyed fighting goons, because they came in with a bunch of interceptors, and I can just eat interceptors. Like, rapid heavies, heavy drones, scram, grappler, all that stuff just eats them alive.
Biggest debate out there. Grappler or stasis web of fire?
I mean, I had a lot of fun with the grappler. I didn't try the stasis web of fire, because with the grappler, yes, I had less range, but my idea was, hey, whenever I'm going to need to use the grappler is if I'm fighting frigates and they're super close to me. The one thing I would have done in that fight differently is, instead of immediately sending out just the lights, sent out my heavies, because, well, one, I had lost all my heavies, a very good portion of my heavies, because I had taken a fight which was not a good fight. Basically what had happened was, I had warped into someone that was doing one of the Blood Raider gauntlets, and he was like 100, 200 off. And so I had to slow boat him. It was actually an ingenious plan, right? So the plan was, I had to slow boat towards his two Feroxes while they burn in the other way. Meanwhile, I'm taking damage from the rats and the Feroxes. So the only way for me to actually win was I had to keep burning, essentially. And so I was like, alright, screw this. Warped off, killed what was tackling me, warped off, and left my drones.
Yeah.
The only thing is, I left my drones, and I probably would have killed more. So, because, again, like the light drones, yeah, they were doing a lot of damage. But the minute they started focusing my light drones and I actually had to switch to heavies, or my 2 remaining heavies, the DPS just fucking skyrocketed, and I started alphaing those interceptors. Now, granted, I was gonna die, but it became a point of, how many of them can I take with me?
Yeah.
Which, honestly, is really... It's the mantra of Battleship solo PvP. It's not, okay, can I get out? It's, how many can I take with me? And that ship had killed an orca, so no matter what, it was ISK positive. Which was kind of hysterical.
Yeah, especially if you got an
considering it was
orca.
the Russians.
Who even uses those nowadays?
I mean, I've seen people. I remember when I first started mining out in nullsec and doing it with multiple characters. My first setup was actually a skiff. Actually, no, not a skiff, but a procurer and a miasmos. And I think I had my one character, Riker 514, and Sergal 514. And Sergal would just run ore back and forth while Riker would just sit and belt and shoot stuff.
Yeah, so I started off with I got into nullsec pretty quickly, and then I started off with just a procurer because that thing can actually kill the rats in nullsec. But eventually, I went back to highsec for a little bit and got a retreat, and then realized that I hate highsec mining, and then refused to ever do it again.
Highsec mining is just the worst. However, I had an orca in order to do it because my whole thing is if you can't be on comms, don't do it in null. Because in null, like, you have to be on comms 24/7. You have to be paying attention. But if I'm at work, let's say I'm doing something and I throw my orca out in highsec, I'm pretty safe. Now, I'm not going to say I'm 100% safe because I'm not 100% safe. People are going to kill me.
I mean, it's Eve. You're never 100% safe.
Oh, yeah, that's true. But with an orca, especially if I'm in a higher sec status system, I've got a pretty good chance of being safe. That and it's tank fit, so.
Yeah. Tank fit will save you in high sec.
Oh, yeah. I was actually experimenting with a couple different fits that I had in mind, like the one of them being trying to see if I could put an emergency hull energizer on a freighter, which, by the way, like, you want to fix the whole quote-unquote ganking issue, just allow freighters to fit emergency energized hull. Like, think about it. If they're paying attention, they're going to say, oh crap, I'm being shot at, let me just hit this button, emergency hull energized, bam.
Yeah, but that gets to a very much larger question. Because that would get down to, is ganking a thing people should be allowed to do right?
But here's the thing, because what EVE is all about is it's risk versus reward, right? And if you're going to be AFK in a way from the game, and you're going to start getting bumped and someone's going to kill you, yeah, you weren't actually at the game. You died because you weren't.
The downside is if you allow them to do that, then that means it's literally impossible to kill NPC freighters. So you can move anything through highsec through a freighter in an NPC corp, and you can't ever be touched.
But at the same time, that goes with, because as of right now, if someone wants to kill you in highsec, there's nothing you can do. You can be the best person in the world, and
there's a lot of things you can do,
like,
actually.
I can kill you. Right, there's a lot of things you can do, but as a solo player in highsec with a freighter, you're kind of screwed. If someone starts bumping you, they can bump you forever. Whereas if you throw on a if you give the freighters the ability to use the emergency energized whole thing, I forget the full name, but it's the emergency one, then that gives them a chance to... Gank fleet comes in, they get shot at, they have their one chance to activate that module, entire gank fleet dies. That gives them just a little bit more time to then call for help and figure out what they're going to do.
Yeah, but that ends up either being you just bring 2 gank fleet and you sacrifice twice as much to kill each freighter, or freighters basically become almost immune.
Right, so it's basically forcing the enemy fleet to then want to try more, have to try harder against this freighter pilot who is trying harder as well. Because right now, there's just nothing that a freighter pilot can do. But at the same time, this whole, only having
Scouts
one
and webs,
charge...
scouts and webs.
Well, yeah.
Scouts and webs. Also blockade runners.
Yeah.
Ain't nothing gonna stop a blockade runner in high sec.
I feel like enough insta-lock tornadoes will.
You can, but here's the thing: you can't cargo scan a blockade.
That is true.
So people usually don't gank them because you never know if they're empty.
Anyway, we've completely off topic, but that's okay.
But any talk with me always goes off topic eventually or quickly. Usually,
I mean that's really fine. All right, so now let's talk about the battle, because that's what we were going to try and talk about.
About the what? You cut out there.
The battle that was fought last night.
Oh yeah,
what's the name of that system?
I don't even remember at this point.
Okay, yeah, it was so long.
It's Neurotech.
So yeah, basic overview. Test was going and trying to kill a Sodio. Yeah, Sodio. For some reason, I almost said KeepStar. Oh well.
I mean, it's like a KeepStar, but with less guns. Like the Sodio damage cap is actually the same damage cap as the KeepStar. You need as much DPS to damage cap it. It's just 2/3 as much HP, so it takes 2/3 as long.
You mean 2/3 less time?
It takes 2/3 as long, so 1/3 less time.
Okay.
Yeah, it's got 2/3 the HP total, so it takes 2/3 as much time.
Okay, I don't know. When you say it like that, that screws
me
up for some
reason.
reason.
It's math talk, math speech.
Oh well. So yeah, what else was I gonna say? All right, so yeah, we fought it. Test didn't exactly win.
I mean, we pretty much probably weren't gonna. I mean, but like last time we went into a battle where we probably shouldn't have been able to win, and they didn't even fight us. They just stood at us on their Sodio, tethered up, and didn't do anything. So like, I'm glad that they actually got enough together to fight us. To be honest. I mean, they didn't fight us until they like literally had tons of caps on field and like 3 different fleets. But you know, at least they fought finally.
Well, and that's kind of the meta of EVE right now too, where it's don't take a fight you can't win. Come to think about it, that
but
really.
Why not?
I mean, people want to win. Losing ships isn't fun.
I don't know about you, but I have had so much fun losing ships.
I mean, I enjoy losing ships too if it goes down in a good fight, but I guess a lot of people, if they can avoid losing any ships, then they can get a quote-unquote a dominant victory, a complete victory.
Yeah, it's at the end of the day, it's about the good fight. Your kill boards aren't going to be that like important of a metric if you're not having fun playing, because you're never fighting unless you're dunking. Neither of those are fun. Not playing's not fun. And honestly, to me, just dunking people isn't fun either.
That's where you and I disagree, because
anyone can sit on grid with 100 ships and lock and fire 20. Anyone can do that. That doesn't take any effort or skill.
Yeah, that part I agree with, but the part of, you know, it's not fun to just totally dunk on people. It is.
Fun to win. It is fun to win. But it's also fun to actually have fights, to me. I get my enjoyment through fights.
Oh yeah. I was just saying, dropping your super on a small gang that's tackling your Rourke. That's pretty fun. Especially if they give salt, which honestly, a lot of people don't, but the fleet I was just on, people gave some pretty good salt.
Oh, people have been salty lately in Eve. But I guess that's always been Eve, so I guess nothing's changed.
Salt in Eve is definitely something that's not new. Now I just think people are more vocal about their salt. Or maybe, I don't know. I mean, look at World War B.
I mean, enough people sit in their stations and ships spin all day, so, like, they gotta let that out.
Actually, no. They can do Project Discovery now.
Everyone go earn your Marshall. Do the science, earn the Marshall.
Dude, like, it's so weird now. Like, so part of me really wants a super, but the other part of me really wants a Marshall. And I'm at that level of ISK now where I could technically just be like, oh, well, if I just throw a little bit more X to my account, I'll be able to fly a Marshall, and I'll be able to say, oh yeah, I'm a Marshall pilot. At the same time, though, if I fly a super and just wait just a little bit longer, then super.
I'll go ahead and tell this to everyone who's listening. If you plan on getting a Marshall, make sure you get a lot of Blops experience in cheaper Blops, because the Marshall is all of that stuff times 2. Because everyone and their mother wants to kill a Marshall.
Whereas I'm the complete opposite. I'm like, it didn't work with a regular Blop, so why don't I use a super expensive one?
I know, right? It's a very expensive ship that a lot of people want to kill.
It's kind of like my whole thought on carriers. Well, I'm not getting good enough ticks in my regular carrier, so I might as well get a super. That, and if I have a super, then defending my Rourke becomes easy as right-click jump to.
I mean, that's what a fax is for. Not to crush your dreams.
Okay.
But faxes do that role so much better.
Currently, I am working towards a fax, but how my accounts are currently set up, it's that my fax pilot is also my Rourke miner.
Yeah, my main cat pilot can also do faxes. I love triage faxes.
It was kind of interesting, but so this is what makes me think that I'm retarded. I can't actually figure out how to be an IRAT. Okay, that's not the point, and also shut up. But yeah, like, I cannot figure out with my alt to get him to be an IRAT the way he's supposed to. Like, I check my fitting, I've looked at videos, I've seen other people do it. It's just every time I go to VNI rat with Techie, he just screws up. And so I kept asking myself, man, I keep running out of cap. Like, the fit should be good, but it's, like, this fit's also bad because it's super cap intensive, because I keep running out of cap.
Just make sure you have a plus delta of 2.
No, but here's the thing. I then checked my skills, because I couldn't use one of the modules. That's when I figured out why I was having cap.
There's a fitting window with a simulate my ship button. Even though you see a fit from someone else, you got to check that to make sure, because there's a lot of skills that affect a lot of things.
Well, no, like, I could use the entire fit. The only thing is that I didn't have a support skill, because when I went and checked my skills, I found out that I had capacitor management 2.
Yeah, capacitor management 5 is a very important skill.
And that's when I realized, I should probably train that, especially considering this is going to be a fax pilot.
Oh yeah, definitely.
And with the new nerfs coming, that's gonna. Whew.
They're already here.
Oh well, with the new nerfs, like, capacitor management 2 is gonna become, like, here's the thing, right? If I hadn't have caught that, here's what would have happened. We would have been in a battle or doing incursions or something. And I would have been like, I'm running out of capacitor. I keep running out of capacitor. The FC looks at me, it's like, how are you running out of capacitor? We've only been fighting for a few minutes. It's like, I don't know. I die. I then go and submit SRP. And they look at me and it's like, you have cap management too.
You only had 2?
Yeah, I only had capacitor
Oh,
management
you're the
2.
worst. You're the worst.
Which is why the minute I saw it, I just said, all right, we're going to train this now.
That's 15% of your capacitor just thrown out the window.
Yeah, which is kind of funny because you want to know how much capacitor I'm missing on the VNI? 10 gigajoules.
Wow.
Just 10. Out of a ship that has 3,000.
Also, I'm gonna shout out everyone. Please train your controlled bursts as a logic. Controlled bursts is also a very important skill. Most people forget to even.
I haven't. That's one of the only skills that I have trained.
Do you have it a 5?
That's a good question. And I don't want to check now.
Yeah, because you get to tell me it's also 2, and then I'm gonna look at you funny.
Alright, I know it's not 2. I know it's definitely above 2.
Yeah, 4 is actually a pretty good number to set at.
It might be at 4. But don't quote me on that, because, yeah, I could definitely very easily be wrong on that. I know it's not 2, though.
But yeah, back to our original topic. It was a pretty fun fight, for me at least. I hope both sides had fun, and I hope both sides will continue to fight. That's from my perspective.
I mean, it definitely looks like both sides will continue to fight. I'm personally excited to do more bombing runs. I've learned that I really suck at bombing. But it's fun because, like, just the whole idea of just shooting, the whole idea of bombing is hysterical. And I just realized that sounds really bad.
Why is it hysterical?
Anyway, because just, like, to be just doing your thing and all of a sudden bombs come out of nowhere and you're just like, oh,
I'm dead now.
Wait. Yeah, exactly. It's like, oh, I'm fighting. Oh, I just died.
Yeah. Bombs are really good tools, especially when you know how to apply them. I'm a fan of anything that jumps. Capital is Black Ops. Anything that jumps and teleports through space is awesome to me.
Sounds like you'd be a good member of Jump Drive Appreciation Society.
Jump Drive Appreciation Society? Question mark.
I don't know who they are, but I know they exist.
Alright.
Because I said something and one of my very old court mates said something Jump Drive Appreciation Society. Who it was, I want to say it was a guy by the name of Adasar. So, but yeah, no, it was definitely a fun fight. Even though I kind of fucked up the first bombing run for the entire fleet. My bad. Still not the worst mess up I've ever done in EVE. Although it definitely affected... Actually, no, I don't want to say it affected the most people. But yeah, fun times. What else were we going to talk about? Aaron, you got anything?
No, that's about it for me. Unless you want another yet again sidetrack.
Yeah, we can do another yet again sidetrack.
I think we're only down to a couple people. But I think at one point you wanted to ask questions from the chat. Which has been dead.
Doesn't have any questions.
So. The chat's been dead.
Yeah. This whole weekly show thing, because it's weird, right? So I did a whole lot more shows in more rapid succession, but they were longer. So they actually got more people, which was kind of interesting, kind of not. Well, actually, no, it makes sense. Longer shows, more of them, more exposure, that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Although I am a fan of this time frame because, like, it's not the dead of night for some people. Then again, it is a Saturday. So, yeah. What else were we going to talk about? Oh! New changes. So, with all these new structures, there's actually been a lot of debate on if
they're so pretty.
They are pretty.
Sorry. The jump, all of the things are so, like, I love the Sino Jam animations. I love the Sino Beacon animations. The new gate jump animations all over New Eden. So amazing. Like, I loved most of the structures in this new patch.
I think it's kind of funny because whenever you go to a gate, you can actually see the individual ships warping in. So if you just see
there's so much information. There's so much extra information. It's so good.
If you just see just a bunch of blue lines come to the gate, and you know your fleet's not coming through, you know you're about to get wrecked.
Yeah, you're probably not in a good place.
Which honestly, I mean, just seeing those animations, it brings new life to the galaxy, you know?
I want to shout to CCP real quick. If they can find a way to allow us, when we jump as a fleet, to see the other fleet members jump too, because right now the camera moves behind the gate and then it hides all those orange. I would almost rather just be able to turn that off and just watch the whole fleet jump out.
Yeah,
I don't know. That's just me.
Although it might have something to do with feedback. So, like, when you enter that camera, you know that your ship has disappeared from space.
Yeah, that too.
And you know essentially you're quote unquote invulnerable for that time.
For a little while. You're in the warp tunnel.
Yep. Which, holy crap, the warp tunnel, especially when it hits tie-dye, the warp tunnel is just, it's not a fun thing. It's really not.
Yeah, but the game's doing a lot better, to be honest.
Oh yeah,
as far
especially
as,
now.
tie-dye is concerned, like, you really have to shove so many people in a system that the game gives up to create tie-dye, like a massive amount. Unreinforced nodes, at least.
Didn't Test create tie-dye in Jita one time?
Oh yeah, that whole Jita campaign thing. Yeah,
that
constant tie. I have noticed there's a lot more tie-dye. At least recently, it tends to show up when fleets cross. I don't know if that's like the servers handling things, but that seems to be about the only time like tie-dye really rockets. That and fighters launch, fighters and drones.
Oh yeah, fighters have been known to completely screw the tie-dye over completely. I mean, it's even so that it's actually become a tactic where it's like, all right, just launch all your fighters. Okay, server's dead. We win.
Server's dead. It's dead, Jim.
Exactly. Which, speaking of tie-dye, like, so that actually reminds me of another point. The whole structures not being affected by tie-dye. Like, that, I'm not a big fan of that.
What was it? They just recently announced there was something that was going to be affected by tie-dye.
I believe that was the new structures.
Something about them. I don't remember what it was. I don't think it's the reinforced timers or anything.
Pretty sure it's the repair timer. Yeah, the repair timer is actually affected by tie-dye, which in the beginning it was, oh hey, you know, our structures, the structure timers, they can't be affected by tie-dye. Oh, but wait, these new structures can be affected by tie-dye. What?
If the damage cap is going to be affected by tie-dye, I think the structure timers need to be affected by tie-dye as well.
Well, I think it's the repair timer, from what I've been told.
Yeah. Well, I mean, just, there's damage caps on each structure. So if you're going to make the repair faster effectively under tie-dye, you need to make them be able to take more damage effectively under tie-dye.
Right. And I think that's part of why they did the whole thing with the repair timer. Is so that it was, like, basically make it so that it's not total crap. And so that it's like, oh, hey, we need to attack this structure or kill a Sino jammer to get our caps in system. Okay, it's repairing. Oh, crap, well, we can't do enough damage to pause it. Which would make things a whole lot harder, especially because you have to do it, 3 times? All on the grid with a citadel that may or may not be reinforced?
Yeah. I think a lot of ships are going to find a lot of extra use nowadays because of these structures, actually.
Oh yeah, that's definitely a thing that could happen.
Like, I think out of anything CCP's designed for them, they've actually made them interesting structures to fight. Whereas previously, they weren't interesting structures to fight over. But that's just, I guess, my opinion. Because, like, the go-to way to, like, kill a Sinogem, right, is drop a bunch of dreads on it. And these things, that doesn't really help you. Like, there are actual subcap battles that need to be fought over these things. Which is cool, to me at least.
Yeah, and having more subcap battles would definitely help to sort of fix this whole capital dominance. Because, like, dropping capitals on everything, while I do love my capitals, I can't really do it all the time, you know? Like, I want there to be some subcap relevancy.
Oh, I could use capitals all the time.
Well, I think we all could, because capitals
Right.
are awesome.
It's just replacing them if they die is the soul-wrenching part.
Well, with insurance now, like with dreads and carriers, like that's replacing a carrier or a dread is super simple. It's just like, oh hey, you know, well, insurance pays for most of it.
Yeah, something needs to be done about that. For me, at least.
I mean, I'm okay with it because, so it's kind of a double-edged sword, right? At the same time, I want there to be more subcaps used, but at the same time, I kind of think that capitals should be easy to replace because that encourages people to use them more. Not necessarily in big fights, but just more on their own. Take, what was it? Rorks, for example. Rorks are big content drivers. You know,
but they're also basically always safe, if you know what you're doing.
Exactly.
And you actually have control of your space. Cost like test.
But at the same time, I want to bring up the one time a Rourke was tackled recently by a initiative Stuka fleet, and they actually stayed on grid and fought our supers because they just deleted fighters, and that was actually a really fun fight. You know, I got a lot of kills. I don't know if Initiative got kills. Initiative killed a ton of fighters. Hashtag rip a few of my Tech 2s.
Rip Tech 2 fighters.
However, they didn't kill a full squadron, so they didn't get a kill mail, which is the part I was concerned about. Because if my whole thing is, if I don't have to feed kill mails, why feed kill mails? So, anyway, so yeah, yeah, I forgot what I was gonna say right after that. Aaron, you got anything?
No, I'm pretty much good. I don't know. It's your show. Anything else you want to talk about?
I think that about covers it. I'm gonna wrap up the show, guys. Again, thanks for watching. If you've got any other final questions in chat, I'm gonna sign off here. And thank you guys for watching Between Two KeepStars. If you want to be around for our next show, be sure to hit the follow button. There is no subscribe button yet, but we're getting close. We're getting very close. And if you want to stay up to date with what we're doing, join the Discord in the bottom. Subscribe to the YouTube channel where you can catch up on all the streams. I promise I will start updating that with streams. It's not that I've lost the streams. I have them. But yeah, actually, this will be our first episode that actually goes up on YouTube because all the other ones have had problems with them. So yeah, this is our quote-unquote first episode in terms of YouTube is concerned.
Yay, firsties!
Yeah. So yeah, again guys, thanks for watching. I'll see you guys next week.